we go. And we're going live, guys, at top of the hour, 9 p.m. Apologies for a cough I've had. Came a couple days ago. Fighting through it right now. We're taking some cough medicines. Nothing serious, I think. So please don't worry. Everything is fine. Just nasty little cough I've been having. I've been drinking a lot of liquids, especially stuff like my iced lemonade. Been drinking tons of this stuff. But I have a cough dropping right now, as you can tell. So, thank you all for coming into the September 7th, 2021 stream. As always, I'm Rook. If you've not come into the streams before, I usually do them the very first Tuesday of a brand new month. All the time I've been doing these streams, once a month. I hope you guys do enjoy the stream. Not a whole lot to really talk about in the stream tonight as a whole. Big announcement, we'll talk about that shortly. I want to talk about pickups, which we've gotten from the from this particular month, at least leading up to this month. So I showcase that stuff off first. Talk about some stuff that's coming up for the New York Comic Con, which would have been going on, but I think from the perspective of Funko, there's some kind of controversy with that. I'll talk about that momentarily. So let's talk about pickups for this month. I think I'm going to talk about this one last stream. I can't remember if I did or not, but this is all Funko stuff. So I got my hands on the Snake Eyes with Timber. This was the Funko Store exclusive. This is more of his Commando version with Timber right there. It's a great Snake Eyes version. I have not yet reviewed this guy. I probably will be shortly. I really like this version of Snake Eyes. This is more of his Alpha Commando version, which is this version right here, which is the version you can get as well. They've come out with this, counting this one, there are two other versions. There's this one here, and I have the original release of Snake Eyes. So I've made, hey Bizarro Supergirl, thanks for coming into the chat. They made a total of 3 6-inch or standard size pops, not 6-inch, but standard size pops in this scale. So it's very cool that I wanted the Commando version, which is this one, and I didn't really want this one right here. I wasn't a big fan of this look right here. Just I don't know. I like the Commando version with the visor. That's like the go-to look that everybody likes for Snake Eyes. But I finally got my hands on this one. The wife picked this up. A little more expensive. About, I think it was like 18 or 20 bucks, something close to that. So not too bad, but I really wanted this guy. Leading up to the FunkoCon, one of the items that I picked up, which was a pre-order, because it didn't ship yet until the end of, I want to say it was the end of August, and that is Xanathar. Xanathar, basically the crime boss, the beholder of of Skullport and Undermountain. Excuse me. Again, like I said, cold. So this is a beholder. Very, very cool. It floats on a little stand. Looks very, very cool. I love what it did with this guy. This is the Summer Convention. Again, the shared exclusive version, not the FunkoCon version, unfortunately. But really happy to get this one, Xanathar, which is basically, think of him as a crime boss. He's a beholder. There's a lot to really talk about Xanathar, but I want to do a review for this guy because he's a little bit different than your typical Funko Pop. I figured this would be a really cool review to do with this guy, so that's something down the road. The last show and tell item is something that was very expensive for FunkoCon, and it sold out really quickly. And I unfortunately, during the Lotto system, I didn't get into the Lotto, and I'm not going to do an unboxing with this one just because it's going to be very, very valuable. It's a #1 piece in a first line of a new collection that Funko's doing, which is dubbed the Die-Cast Metal Series. This is a die-cast pop inside a glass case. It's been laser etched on the side. This is the FunkoCon version, which is the shared exclusive version. It's not the Funko version. Again, we're talking the sticker here. It's identical to the normal Funko version. Again, the only way you could have gotten this was on their site. The price point for this guy was 50 bucks. eBay are selling these right now. I think the cheapest I seen was about 150, but that was a few days ago, so the prices might have changed significantly. So this is the Captain America #01 die-cast. This is a die-cast metal pop. You're going to say, well, why is it so expensive, Rook? This is $50. It's expensive because this is a metal pop. It is full die-cast metal. It is extremely heavy, and it's, again, laser etched on the side of the case. When you take it, basically, if you unbox it, you pull it out of this, you slice the tape here and pull it out of the packaging, you'll get a laser etched all the markings on the side are laser etched. So that's, instead of being like a normal pop, like it would look like a normal packaging like this Snake Eyes here, the packaging is inside this, basically this glass case. So that's the idea. So very cool pop. Again, very pricey. This thing sold out. It went back up on the Funko store, I want to say about a week ago, and it sold out, I think, in the span of 4 minutes. This sold out once again. So these are extremely hard to come by now. I guarantee you probably in the next, apologies again, I'll say in the next maybe 6 months to a year, this will probably double in price, easily. On a secondary market, this thing's going to be super, super expensive. So, very happy to get the Captain America 01. Now, they kind of spoiled, if you were not made aware, they kind of spoiled the second item in this line. There was kind of an Easter egg on the literature, on the basically the pictures for this guy, for all the publicity information they had for it. They had, if you would have looked on this side of the packaging, an image of Iron Man. So the second item that's going to be in, and even had Iron Man listed down the side on the laser etch. So the second item that will be released, which will be the next item in the series, will be 02. I believe it's going to be 02. It's going to be Iron Man in that series. So those are the most recent pickups. Again, the drink we're doing tonight, guys, of choice, we're doing some classic lemonade. Again, I'm getting over a nasty cold. It's kicking my butt right now. Again, I've gotten all my COVID shots, if you're asking me. Could be something serious. I don't think so. It's just a nasty cough I'm having right now. It's kicking my butt. So that's the big piece there. This coming weekend, I will be going to SuperCon 2021 down in Miami. I will be shooting video at SuperCon, but I'm going to shoot it a little bit different compared to how I shoot my normal con videos. Normally my con videos would be, I'd put music through the entire video, I'd take a lot of cosplayers, I'd shoot a lot of booths. I'm going to do it differently. I'm going to do it more of a con experience. I'm going to walk around. I'm going to be talking throughout the entire video. Just something a little bit different. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay. Let me know in the chat if you can hear me all right, guys. I'm not going to San Diego Comic-Con. I'm going to be going, as I said, SuperCon. It's in Miami. It's a much smaller con compared to MegaCon. I did take the wife to MegaCon, and it was a much bigger con. She was very surprised by the experience, how big the con was. Comparatively speaking, thanks, Jackie. Comparatively speaking, compared to the, comparing, because the only convention that she's ever gone to was SuperCon. So the only basic information she has for her experience is SuperCon to draw from. She went to MegaCon, and it was a much, much bigger show. MegaCon will beat you down. It's not the size of, let's say, well, they did project the attendance for MegaCon this year was 100,000 guests. That's what people attended MegaCon 2021. It was 100,000 people. That ranks up there in some of the big cons that are out there. Again, it's not New York Comic Con, it's not San Diego Comic Con, it's probably not even Dragon Con, but it's still, yep, exactly, Bizarro. It's still a very, very big con. We're going to be doing it for just a one-day show. I'm going to be shooting some video, just to do something a little different, and I'm going to be, I'm going to be all masked up, just like I was for MegaCon, and it's going to be again a two-part video series. The Saturday, it's going to be going this Saturday. The Saturday video is going to be just a walkthrough of the con experience. The haul video will be the following Tuesday. I'll do that because I'm going to be buying some stuff. There's going to be a couple pieces I'm really looking to get my hands on. A couple AEW figures I really want to get my hands on. And maybe a couple Transformer figures I want to get my hands on. If I find something cool for Funko, I find something cool for Funko. I don't know if I'm even going to be getting any artwork. Because I spent a crap ton at MegaCon for art. So I don't know if I'm even going to be getting some artwork. Tongue twister there. I'm not sure if I'm going to yet or not. I haven't really decided from that perspective if I'm going to be picking up any art. But I will be. If you guys are in the Miami area, you'll probably see me walking the show floor. Just come up and say hello. That'd be cool. Again, I'll be shooting video. If you want to be in the video, you're more than welcome to. Hopefully it'll be good. I haven't been to SuperCon in now 2 years because of the whole pandemic. MegaCon was our first big con going back to, and it was a different experience because of the whole pandemic stuff. Again, everybody's masked up, and it's a different sort of experience. So that was one of the big announcements. The other big announcement, if you notice, Star Wars Collecting Hobbies, Admiral Akbar, is in the chat tonight. And I asked him specifically to come into the chat because one of the big the other big announcement we're doing is that him and myself are once again doing the Worldwide Wrestling Podcast. We stopped doing it, I want to say about a year ago. AA can correct me. I want to say about a year ago we stopped doing it. I don't want to go into a whole lot of details of why I stopped it or why he stopped it. We kind of had our differences about what we really define pro wrestling. And he had some concerns, I had some concerns. We decided to take a break. That was the idea. And eventually he started doing some other Worldwide Wrestling podcasts with other guests. So the way I'm going to be doing it, I'm going to be on a revolving basis with him. Probably maybe once a month with other guests. I'll be doing my bit with AA. So we're going to be doing tomorrow. We're going to be shooting it, I believe, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It'll be going up probably later, either that day or the following day. And probably about an hour-long podcast if everything goes according to plan. And we're really talking about the AEW All Out pay-per-view. If you are not a wrestling fan, what was it? I can't remember. Was it Buzzsprout? AA? Can't remember what it was called. I think it was on Buzzsprout. Just shoot me it in a text message. I'll put it up. How it's actually spelled. So what we would normally do, a couple years ago when we started working on this, we did pretty good. We actually had some stuff in place with a third party for sponsorship. Some stuff fell through, and basically him and I just kind of grew apart when it came to wrestling. He was on one side of the planet, I'm on the other, just the way it is. That's fine. Just text me it. I'll put it in. Don't worry about it. I'll take care of it. And normally we do this podcast, and I would say probably because we watch if you're not fans of wrestling, this probably won't really pertain to you. But I've been watching wrestling since I was a little kid, and I would say the All Out pay-per-view that came on Sunday night was probably one of the best pay-per-views I've seen in wrestling in years. Short of some of the New Japan IWGP pay-per-view events in Japan. It was a very, very good show. We're going to be talking about it in depth. From what Admiral Akbar has told me, Ace told me that people have been asking a lot about me, wanting to know where I was at, making sure I was okay, which I'm fine. But we're going to be doing some Q&A on the podcast as well. Probably be talking about the matches, matches, and then dropping some QA in. That's what we did before. I don't know our format, how we're going to be doing it. Again, this was kind of spur of the moment. He reached out to me, and we're going to be doing it again. So that was one of the big announcements. I'm very, very happy to go back to do the Worldwide Wrestling podcast with him. Again, like I said, we've had some differences when it came to wrestling. I'm more of a guy who liked old school wrestling. You back your old WCW days, your Jim Crockett. People like, Dusty Rhodes, Magnum TA, the old Four Horsemen, Nikita Koloff, the Rock and Roll Express, Midnight Express. Old school wrestling is what I grew up with. And that's my take of wrestling. I like the old traditional wrestling. Wrestling has changed dramatically since since growing up. And wrestling is still not the same based on what has changed now. I think this is the information from AA. Cool, thank you. And I'll put the link in right now. Thank you, AA, for that. So the link to the website is... He's still using it. Correct me if I'm wrong, AA, on that one. That looks good to you? I think it's correct. Does that look correct? Make sure. Sprout.com 13473 looks correct to me. Yeah, it was a very, very good show. Very surprised with it. There was a couple reasons why. I'll be talking about it in the podcast tomorrow of why AEW went in the direction they did. Again, I don't want this to turn into a full wrestling-based discussion, especially people who may not be into wrestling, so I don't want to bore them with it. I just want to let you guys know that starting, tomorrow, I'm going to be going back to do I can't even pronounce it, the Worldwide Wrestling podcast with him. It's usually about an hour-long podcast we usually do. We'll break down a pay-per-view event. Usually it's a pay-per-view event. We'll discuss it. Pardon me again. We'll discuss basically, my thoughts on it, his thoughts on it, our opinions. It's all subjective based information. We'll drop in information for things we've heard in the dirt sheets, online, things like that. That's what we usually would do. But if you guys want to tune into that, you're more than welcome to. I wanted to plug it on the chat with you guys so you know kind of what's going on with that. As I mentioned, it's not going to be a very, very crazy stream tonight. If you guys have anything for Q&A, please shoot it to me now. I wanted to get my stuff out of the way. The chat dropped on my side. Huh. Looks okay to me. Let's do a test here. Hold on. Hopefully we have people here still. Yep, thanks, AA. Let me refresh the page here. Wait for that to pop back up. I didn't have any issues with the stream tonight, so everything looks pretty good with the stream. Again, apologies for the cough. As I said, I'm trying to get over it. Just kicking my butt right now. Definitely the World Wrestling Podcast will be very fun to do for Wednesday. So we're going to do it probably on a month basis, as I mentioned before. That was the idea. I don't want to do it every week again. I just got burnt out really, really quick. I know that AA probably got burnt out. He has a family. I recently got married now, so there's a lot going on, and I don't want to go crazy with it. I know that he has other guests that he deals with as well, so I'm just going to be coming here and there. It's good to see you again, Bizarro Supergirl. Glad you came back to the stream. So that's it from my side. Let's do some Q&A, guys. Fire off some Q&A to me. What do you guys want to talk about? Hit me up on the chat. Please, please, please. Hopefully I get some of those I'm trying to get some of the AEW figures, some of the newer ones at the convention. That's one thing I'm looking for. And a couple Transformers. Not because I want to get back into Transformers. There's a couple characters that I really recognize myself with, and I've kind of passed them by in other releases, and I'm hoping I'll be able to pick some of those up. Some of the smaller guys. Nothing like the bigger scales. Some of the really smaller characters. Again, I like more the the B and C class tiered characters. Your characters like Skywarp, Blue Streak, Cliff Jumper, Sunstreaker. Those are the characters I remember growing up with. Cool. Thanks, Bizarro. We're going to be doing, I think it's going to be an hour. If everything goes according to plan, it's probably going to be an hour tomorrow. I know that AA had some Q&A he's going to throw to me as well. So hopefully it's going to go well. Hopefully it'll go well. I give my thoughts. Again, when we used to do the Worldwide Wrestling Podcast, I came from the perspective of more the indie guy. I watched a lot of Ring of Honor stuff, a lot of New Japan stuff, some even Impact Wrestling every once in a while. But I've really steered clear from WWE. That was usually AA's thing. He dealt with WWE. I haven't watched a WWE broadcast, I can tell you, in over a year. Easily. I have not touched it ever since, I think, even the end of 2019. Is when I stopped watching WWE. I didn't like the storylines. I didn't like what they were doing with the talent. I didn't like all the budget cuts. I don't like what they're doing with the company. So I decided I wanted an alternative. And that's what a lot of people do. And they want something different. Just because someone gives you vanilla, you don't always have to have vanilla ice cream. There's always an alternative. What was my favorite comic book movie? I would probably say my favorite comic book movie, I'd probably have to go with Deadpool. I think Deadpool was probably one of my favorite comic book movies, which can also be interpreted as a love story. It's very, very sad to say, but it kind of is. They released it originally when Deadpool first came out. It was released on Valentine's Day. It was basically made as a date movie. That was one of the pitches they did. But I would say it's one of my favorite comic book movies. I did like the Avengers Endgame stuff. Everyone liked that, just because that built multiple years of storytelling. If you're going to ask me what did I like the Green Lantern movie, I absolutely hated it. I think that was a abomination of storytelling, an abomination of direction, abomination of acting. Everything about that movie was bad. But yep. So I would say probably Deadpool was probably my favorite superhero movie. I would say that. That would be a fair thing to take away. Fair answer. Yeah, plus an hour probably plus some Q&A. Yeah, I would also on that. I would agree with that. There is one other pop I've been trying to get also. I saw the new Boba Fett Pop, which looks just great. Oh, Jackie, I did get an email from Amazon about Qui-Gon. It's supposed to be coming out. Let me see here. They sent me an email today about it. That I'm supposed to be receiving it the end of September, middle of October. So, even though I already have a Qui-Gon now. So I'll have a second Qui-Gon. But yeah, WWE is just, I just can't, I can't even look at it right now. It's so bad. It's so bad. I can't stand the product. Not a fan of it. Don't like what they're doing. Don't think anything about the product is good. Nick Khan, which is their new, basically their big honcho now, basically under Vince, is basically, I think he's going to be fire sailing everything. That's what it feels like. He's cutting all the talent. He's kind of merging all the departments together. He's setting WWE up for a sale. That's what it looks like to me. He's the guy who came in and he's cutting all the fat and he's trying to make the company the most profitable as possibly can. Hey, usual Mike, how's it going, sir? Haven't seen you in chat before. Thanks for coming in. We're talking about some big announcements. Going to be doing SuperCon 2021 in Miami, and we're doing the Worldwide Wrestling Podcast again this coming Wednesday, which will be an hour-long podcast with myself and Admiral Akbar, Star Wars Collecting and Hobbies, and some Q&A after. Yep, I just got that email today, Jackie. Woo. And I'm getting over a nasty cold, Mike. Woo. Kicking my butt. Kicking my butt. Any other Q&A, guys? Hit me up. Woo. Again, sound horrible. I'll be muting that out when we do our podcast tomorrow, AA. Don't you worry about that. Woo. It's going to be good. Hopefully it'll be a good podcast. I know from what AA's told me, people have been asking about me. So I am still here. I'm still live and kicking. It's just going to be very interesting doing the podcast again since I haven't did it in so long. Yeah, I think he has, if I remember correctly, AA, I think you have about 5 episodes deep. If I remember correctly. I think it's 5 episodes. I went up there, took a look at it today. I think it's 5 or 6 deep. So you can't watch the entire catalog, unfortunately. Listen to the entire catalog, Jackie, especially our older ones. I was kind of salty on my language. I try to keep my language as kind of PG-13 as you can possibly get. Sometimes we had to edit stuff out, just because sometimes I get my language a little hot, if you will. But I'm honest, and that's one thing that AA will always say is I'm very, very honest to the listeners. I'm very honest even to my YouTube channel. I don't sugarcoat stuff. If something is bad, I'll tell you it's bad. If something is good, I'll tell you it's good. Again, I'm sponsored by nobody. Nobody pays me. I'm not paid off. What you see is what you get. I'm completely honest when I'm a straight shooter. What did I think of the Black Widow movie? I thought it was okay. I didn't think it was the greatest movie that came out from Marvel. Again, they shot it during pandemic. It is what it is. What's more important about that movie is all the controversy that came out of the movie. I think the movie was overshadowed by the controversy. And that was Scarlett Johansson had a clause in her contract that depending on what she did for box office ticket sales, she got a piece of the pot, basically. I think she got like 20% of the ticket sales, something along those lines. And the problem is they didn't put anything into the bylines of her contract that will be a simultaneous release between Disney Plus and ticket sales. Because let's face it, between pirating stuff and let's say HBO Max or Disney Plus, a simultaneous release will usually lower the box office of a movie because the only way you can watch it is in the box office. That you're buying a ticket to watch it as opposed to watching it at home. That was the big problem with with the Black Widow movie, and that's why this big lawsuit took off, and why Scarlett Johansson now is getting blacklisted by Disney, is because she's putting this lawsuit in place, and she's demanding, like, she said she should have gotten something like $25 million or something ridiculous in the payoff because of sales, but because that's not what she was guaranteed, because the sales tanked because everybody basically watched it on Disney Plus and didn't go out to the theater. Again, we're still talking the beginning of the Delta virus for the pandemic. People were still scared. That was one piece of the problem, and the other was the simultaneous release on Disney Plus. If they would have gated the release to say, hey, for 4 weeks or 5 weeks or 6 weeks, you can only watch Black Widow in the theaters, and then 6 weeks later, 8 weeks later, it'd be then released on Disney Plus, I don't think you would have this backlash that they have now because of this. Let's see here. There you go. I pushed it through AA. It came in as a warning. I just pushed it through. So if you guys wanted to, you can always hit that link right there. That will also be up there. And if you want to go to that link, you can. That's be more Buzzsprout stuff. That's more of the World Wide Wrestling Podcast. I can't talk tonight. That's more of the World Wide Wrestling Podcast stuff. Again, that's going to be starting tomorrow. I don't know, AA, after we shoot it, are you releasing it the same night? That I don't know. That would come from him. He's the one who records it. I just do the talking. So we'll see what he says. Hopefully he'll release it the same night. If not, probably the next day. Probably is when it will be. I kind of agree, Mike, on that one. I like the Snake Eyes movie to an extent. The problem is, I'm not racist in any stretch of imagination, but all of the older history of G.I. Joe, Snake Eyes was never a Asian-looking guy. He was American with blonde hair. That's what he was in the comics. When Larry Hama, who wrote basically the history of G.I. Joe, he wrote everything, all the file cards you see for G.I. Joe characters back in the 80s, that was Larry Hama. He did all of that stuff. He did the history, all of it. Because Hasbro never had a real plot in place for how these characters would interact. Larry Hama wrote not only the file cards, the character bios, but he wrote the comic. I think he still writes the comic now. Maybe not all of them, but he does. Or he did write them, at least for Marvel, for a good chunk of time. So, Snake Eyes was never an Asian guy. He was a blonde guy. And the reason why he never talked was he didn't take a vow of silence. He was in a helicopter accident where this happened back in they kind of retconned Snake Eyes' history. He was in the war, but he was in Vietnam with Storm Shadow and Stalker, if I remember correctly. And he was in a helicopter crash, and something exploded and blew like the side of his face off. That's why he couldn't talk. His vocal cords got severed. And he had cosmetic surgery done and everything, and he would never unmask in the comics. You would see maybe just, he'll take his mask off, you'll see a bit of blonde hair. You know he's a white person because you see the Caucasian skin and the white hair underneath the mask. That's about it. But now they completely retconned all of his history. Now, if we're making the Snake Eyes as a bridging movie to another set of G.I. Joe movies, the problem is, or maybe they're going to make a sequel to the Snake Eyes movie, which, from what I've heard, didn't do very good in the box office. It doesn't explain why he doesn't talk. At the end of the movie, spoilers, he puts the visor down, it kind of shuts down, and he drives away on a motorcycle. There's nothing about him not talking, no vow of silence, nothing. So I'm assuming whatever happens to him either happens in another G.I. Joe movie or another Snake Eyes movie. One of the two. But I thought it was okay. Yep, 2 or 3 months. Yep. Let's see here. I know that when we used to do the podcast, it would fluctuate when we near pay-per-views. At least when we were doing the WWE stuff. If we were doing like a New Japan piece, it would fluctuate based on the pay-per-views. And if it was, let's say, a pay-per-view was on a Sunday, usually that following Monday or Tuesday the episode would be up. I don't know if AA is still doing the same way, but that's how we were doing it back then. And it's right now, guys, 9:30. I said it's going to be a 30-minute stream tonight. I just wanted to get, let you guys know what was going on. Talking about the SuperCon event. The big thing, of course, with AA doing the Worldwide Wrestling Podcast tomorrow on Buzzsprout. Let me drop in the link again, just in case people need it again. Hopefully it drives some traffic to the stream. Do I have any G.I. Joe action figures? I most certainly do. Might be hard to notice, but let me scoot over to the side. See that shelf right here? That shelf right there. Oh, right there. Bunch of Snake Eyes figures over there. Some in the smaller scale, some 3 3/4 scale, some in the 6-inch scale. I do like the classified figures. I think it's cool having them in the 6-inch scale. But yeah, hopefully, Usual Mike, you do subscribe to the channel. I do these streams, as I mentioned at the beginning. I do them the first Tuesday of a given month. Run for about 30 minutes for a stream. If it's something that pertains to important news, let's say new Funko stuff, new convention stuff. Oh, one thing I almost forgot about Funko. I said I was going to get back to it. I got off track on it. Funko is not going to be attending New York Comic-Con this year. That's the convention that usually happens in October. They're doing another Funko Con instead. Because of the Delta virus, the Delta variant of the COVID-19, they decided not to attend New York Comic-Con. So they're doing another Funko Virtual Con. That was what I was going to get at to the beginning of the stream tonight. I forgot about that. So that's what's happening there. As I mentioned before, Usual Mike, that I do these streams the very first Tuesday of a given month. Normally content I put up on the channel comes every Tuesday and Thursday. Usually a Tuesday video will probably be, if it's not a convention, if it's not a stream video, it's probably going to be a Funko review or an unboxing video. Usually maybe something like Geek Fuel. I may be canceling Geek Fuel. I haven't decided yet. Okay, cool. Thanks, Usual Mike. I just haven't seen you in the stream. But yeah, usually these stream is usually Tuesday. Again, 30 minutes or an hour, depending if we have a lot to talk about. The hour-long one would be big news. Also, I will sometimes drop a podcast out of nowhere. If there's an important event that happened or something's important going on that I need to really let the community know about, I'll let you guys know. So that's about it, guys. It's 9:32. I want to thank everybody who came into the stream tonight. It's a very good stream. I hope you guys tune in to the Worldwide Wrestling Podcast. Tomorrow we shoot it. It'll probably going up either later that Wednesday, that night, or Thursday. So stay tuned to Buzzsprout for that podcast. It's going to be AEW All Out Review. So stay tuned for that, guys. I want to thank everybody who came into the stream, guys, tonight. I'm going to be canceling in 3, 2,